Turn that down a bit. Just a smidgen. There we go. There we are. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Jack, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Yep. Got super frustrated, and honestly, it's on me because here I was thinking, you know, I'll just download Minecraft and then it'll play like every other game on PC ever. But was not the case. Couldn't get it to work. The controls would work for the keyboard and everything, and then my mouse wouldn't work, and I was looking up if there were problems, like just kind of in general, if there were problems about it, and like there's just no good information about it. So it's something I'll probably look in tomorrow, so I can get it ready for like maybe Friday's stream. But I got so mad because it was just like information all over the place, where it's like, oh, have you tried turning off all of your recording equipment? And it's like, well, it would defeat the purpose. So no, I didn't do that one thing that would alienate the entire reason I'm trying to play this game. So that was annoying. And brother, like, Minecraft Dungeons is in Steam. Like, why don't they just put Minecraft in Steam, bro? Because the launcher they have is just dumb. It's bad. I don't like it. But it's all stuff I'll figure out. You know, no biggie. Yeah, it'll be fine. You know, I was just getting. I was getting a little frustrated, so I was like, you know what, I'm already late to stream, and so now it's going to be a shorter stream. I'm already going to be late to stream, let me just get in there, and I can just do mech building and talking, and that'll be really cool. Yeah, so, mech building instead. And that's just what we're going to do. Also, about the library game. Oh, hang on. You telling me you failed Minecraft? Yes, I failed Minecraft, Jack. Thank you. I failed Minecraft. I couldn't figure it out. It was too hard. Was too hard. And so now, I am a silly goose of a man. That's on me. You know, I downloaded it like way early in the day because I'm thinking to myself, oh, you know, like every game ever. My first and last mistake. Big ol'. You telling me this ain't his head? There we go. Dude, this guy looks cool. What? What? There we go. There we go. We're building a guy now. Give me little chest pieces. Probably go right there. Yeah. What a... These look like little shoes. Oh, perfect. He's awesome, dude. Look at his little shoes. Ah, incredible. Alright, these don't seem to go anywhere over here. No shot, they just click in. Yeah, okay. Oh, we gotta go somewhere. Maybe a little bit over here. Yeah. So update on the librarian game, organizing the library. It turns out I am just a foolish man with foolish plans. Because literally the second I stopped streaming it, I saw this key, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Where does that go? It was one of the keys to the chest. It unlocked jumping, which then let me find another key, which let me unlock running, and then I found another key, which gave me the ability to carry 2 extra books. And like literally there was this whole RPG mechanic I had just not engaged with. And it felt bad because it's like I picked up 3,000 books because I'm a silly goose. That's really it, huh? That's really it. Oh, come on, man. Where's this go? I don't like looking at the, Aha! Don't like looking at the book. Unless it's for the stickers. And then I love looking at the book. There we go. Oh, that's cool. I think I like the idea of red stickers here. Get it right about. No. Right about. Just a smidgen to the... There we go. Just like real life. I love it. He's a crusader? Yeah, I'm about ready to crusade on Minecraft, I'll tell you that for sure. Can't believe I couldn't get it to work. Nothing makes me feel more like a silly goose than that. Little anticlimactic phrasing there, I suppose, but yeah, like, it just feels bad because it's like, I was so looking forward to it, like just the inevitable Minecraft stream that VTubers always do, and just gonna try and build like a library, have a lot of fun with that. To be honest, I'll probably just get my brothers to help me out with that. Most likely. And then we'll probably be good to do that on Friday. Which... not too bad. No reason to be upset about it. Well, now I'm starting to feel like the stickers shouldn't be red. Getting that feeling? Oh my god. What is this? Gunmetal? Gunmetal black. Darker than that, doesn't it? Gotta get it real dark like. There we go. That looks fierce. Yeah, looks pretty cool. I don't like the red on red though. I'm gonna change that up. Come back. Oh, you know what? We'll keep this one red. But then let's just change these guys to like yellow. There we go. And then we'll change these guys. I don't know. What would be good? White? White might be good. Kind of give it like a shiny effect. Love it. Fantastic. Snag a photo of the man. Jarvis. Alright. Next one. Mech Medieval. This is such a cool section, dude. This is like one of my favorite things. I love Gundam a lot. I think they're pretty cool. I love all the unique designs, and there's really, I think they do a good job of like capturing the essence of a hero, but in a mech, you know, where it's like the Superman of mechs. I think of Gundam, you know. I appreciate it. They got cool laser beams, laser swords, drama. It's fantastic. All fantastic. I wish I wasn't so tilted about the Minecraft thing, man. I'm really just upset with myself, though. Because it's like, I should have known to check for hitches, you know? And it's really just like, one of those things where you learn a lesson for life. You know, thank goodness you only gotta learn it once, but... Man, like, yeah, if I had just had proper foresight, proper planning, I would have made sure it played. And that's the thing, too, right? Is that, I got confused because the launcher was working just fine, and I thought that was the game, and then it like had to download, and I'm sitting there waiting. I'm like, okay, well, you know, that's not so bad. I should have known, but, you know, I thought surely, like, it would just be that. And then, like, a lot of help online was saying, like, oh, you just have to run it as an administrator. And I'm like, well, I can't because it's coming out of the launcher, and Windows doesn't like that at all. And so, you know, it's just, again, foresight on my part. Really not holding up my end. And, man, it's frustrating. Like, especially when you're trying to, like, create content. It's just frustrating to let that happen. And you did it to yourself. No one to blame but yourself. I wish desperately I could blame someone else, but it's just me. I'm the problem. Ooh. Nope. This one? Yes. Where do you go then? We'll figure it out later. Oh, maybe you go on the shoes? You go on shoes. Yeah. Yeah, they look like some shoe bits. Boy. I can't believe myself. I just can't believe it. Can't believe it. Wanted to do some wholesome Minecraft. My lack of foresight. Oh, it's so frustrating. But that's enough of that. You don't want to hear about all that. You want to hear me talk about interesting topics, like why the sun is actually not that much bigger than the Earth. Common misconception. And you think to yourself right now, this guy's lost his marbles over some Minecraft, and now he's talking about the sun? He can't be this wrong all the time. And now he's backpedaling from the sun conversation? No. Yeah, I saw an interesting, article today talking about how the sun, like, this was the title, like, the sun and why it maybe isn't the size you've been taught. And I'm like, where on earth could this go? Where it makes sense, right? Spoiler alert real quick. It never got to where it made sense. In fact, it seemed seem to be more interested in random, unprovable speculation than anything else, as unfortunate is common in the game of articles these days. I thought for sure it would be the arm on that one. Shoulder bits. Help me. Help me, shoulder bits. Where are you supposed to go? Skirt? That don't look like a skirt. Does look like a skirt. Yeah. Yeah. Where's this man's head? No shot. This is the guy's head. Ah, oh, that's cool. Come on. Where you at? Oh, maybe you're supposed to be down here. Maybe you're supposed to be in here. Wiggle all around. You gotta find it. I'm not finding it. Man. There we go. There we go. It's coming together. I thought for sure. Oh, okay. Okay. Underneath the little breastplate. There we go. Nothing's sticking out as super obvious, but maybe it goes on the head. It can't go on the head. That's crazy. Oh. There we go. Oh. Oh, wait. Let me see what colors. That's default right there. Oh, that's the only color design? Well, then, to be honest, it is kind of good, huh? Let's just go ahead and give him all this detail. Pretty cool guy. Get him on there. I like that this one gives you the little outline. That's like super like Gundam for real, because a lot of the details they do are what's called etched in, and so like you can have like pins and markers to like Jarvis, take a picture of this guy. Like bring out those details, and then like in what's known as the high grade line, or basically the cheapest line there. Well, not the cheapest, but like the cheapest quality line, like quality build line. That just makes it sound worse, huh? Basically, the best bang for your buck model kits, known as high grade, they have a lot of stickers. That's part of how they keep them so reasonably affordable. I guess reasonably would be subjective, but there we go. Boy, I wish I could cut out parts at this speed in real life, but unfortunately I'm only 3 feet tall in real life. Man. Got awful quiet around the house today. Ended up writing a little bit, which was nice. Haven't really done that in a while, to be honest. Mapping out kinda like, so normally whenever I write, it's usually like about ethics or philosophy, or the occasional AI thesis paper. What consciousness means. This typically falls under philosophy though. But today I was just doing some creative writing. was writing. I didn't name any characters, unfortunately. I didn't get that deep into the creative process, but I made up a town just called Dwindletown. And I thought it was funny because, like, it's a bit of a Greenland, Iceland kind of thing, where it sounds like a bad town or a place that doesn't have much to offer. It's named Dwindle, after all. But it's kind of like the Las Vegas of its area. And so, you know, just subverting expectations like that. I was writing up what the economy would be like, why anyone would go in there in the first place, especially if, you know, like, Las Vegas in real life has a reputation, right, of, like, you don't want to go there, you'll lose your money. You go there, it will, like, you set a budget ahead of time. You know, you make sure you don't become gotten by the system, right? So, just what would draw a normal person to an area like that, especially in, like, a medieval kind of setting? Not exactly medieval, but... Wait a minute. It feels like you want to be here. Like these. And then like these. And then like these. Now. What's going on here? More confused now than I was 2 seconds ago. I'm suddenly less confused now. Short king. Oh, wait. There we go. Oh, this guy looks sick. That's such cool armor design. That probably for his head. There's no way that's for that. That's gotta be for that, right? Jarvis built this guy's face. It's so tiny in comparison. His head is so small compared to his shoulders. Are you joking me? Huh. You okay, dude? Yeah. Why you ask? Why do you ask, Jack? Because I crashed out about Minecraft for like 3 minutes? Please. Not even upset about that. Why would I be? Such a bully, Jack. You know that? You're a real piece of work. Huh? Bit by bit, you're building this man's arms. Give it the old rush around. There we go. Aha. Yeah, I'm good, Jack. Thank you for asking. I was just frustrated and wanted to vent about it for a second. What? Oh, okay. I was about to lose my marbles on that. I was like, why would it do that? Never mind. It makes sense. It makes sense. Bruh, I was like, there's gotta be some kind of plating for this, right? My brother. Speaking of my brother, he made me a milkshake right before stream. It was super nice of him. It was super tasty. Where did I get that piece from? Why have I done that? There it is. Why have I done this? Oh, you think this goes on his back? Around the world? On the arms? Probably not on the arms, hey. He doesn't have much of a waist unit going on. That's kind of weird. Ugh, brother. What? What? Weird. It so looks like it would... Aha! I wasn't crazy. Or at least not for that reason. This looks like it would be your knees. But it's not your knees. I'll slap that in there. Get these guys up here. Build your shoulders out a little more. They're looking a little puny. What? What? What is that? Why is that there? Is it like... Oh, it must be like the fluff of your, like... knight helmet, perhaps. There's only one. And if I were one of these, where would I go? Right here, obviously. That feels like it's probably actually where it's supposed to go. And then for paint, let's black him out, huh? That's pretty cool. Oh, I should probably look where that actually goes. Ah. Right there? That's kind of weird. Yeah, why not? Just a little weird. Completed. Oof. Brother. I don't know what to talk about, to be honest. I know I'm supposed to be playing Elden Ring relatively soon. Either next week or the week after. I'm still trying to figure out, like, so the pitch was I'm a character that follows the 10 Commandments, which I don't like in a game where you're just like really kind of defeating bosses, and thou shalt not murder being one of the commandments is a little tricky, in my humble opinion. And then, like, you know, you can't really steal in that game, so, like, you know, it's not that I don't like the idea, it's just, like, you gotta come up with, concrete rules, you know, so that, like, there's some kind of entertainment value out of it. Uh, and then probably run the Prophet class and just use holy incantations and stuff like that. It would probably be easiest to run Sword and Board, but that's probably not the most entertaining. So a lot to figure out there. A lot. I mean, there's just some stuff to iron out there. And then we probably try to be playing that. Gonna try and figure out Minecraft. Instead of being a foolish man, I will find great solutions. Which, man, it stinks too. Because I was telling someone today, like, oh, I want to build all these different things. And like, you know, it seemed like she was relatively like, oh, that's cool, right? You know, people enjoy creating things typically, so like, she could have also just been super supportive, like in general, like, you know, which is still nice, you know. Not trying to say anything one way or the other there, but you know, it just feels like dumb because now here I am completely subverting expectations, you know, and I'm telling her like, oh yeah, I'll text you after stream, you know, and like, oh, I know you're working, so you know, I'll take a picture and stuff. Yeah, it makes me feel like a foolish man, and it's not good, right? It just doesn't feel good. When you let people down, even, you know, I say let down, like it's not that deep, but I don't know. To me, it sometimes is, because it's like, do you want to be someone who subverts expectations all the time, right? Like, because sometimes it can be a good thing, right? Where it's like, oh, you know, I didn't think you would be able to work as fast as you did. And it's like, oh, you know, I was struck by inspiration, really gave it my all. And I outperformed myself even, you know? Like, there are things like that where they're like, oh, it's so good. And then there are things that are not. And today was one of the nots. In that one regard, which stinks because the day was like good, you know? Like I got my medicine today, I got my laundry done, I took out the trash, took good care of the dogs. A real productive day. Got a ton of writing done, doing some world building. I worked on my game, made a lot of good. Well, I am happy with the progress I made. I'm trying to get the pixel art of the characters just right, which is really taking the longest. And you want it to. You don't want it to be like a real slapped on thing. You don't want it to be half-hearted or anything like that. So, you know, it's good that you take your time, especially with like those parts of project. I am such a silly goose. This has been sitting over here just waiting to be grabbed. This guy kind of looks like if a praying mantis became like a knight. And I kind of like that vibe. That's low-key kind of super cool. There we go. Get on that one. Man. That's like crisp color design right there. That's pretty fantastic. This game is great at being like super detailed. I am such a sucker for 2D pixel art. Not that this is pixel 1-to-1, but it is, you know, two-dimensional, kind of gets the Gundam feel. They made a 3D model version, and of course I was super excited to try that out, but I've been holding off on it. You know. Say, like, I rarely play games for pleasure these days. I want to save everything for like content. And then someone asked me the other day, I can't remember who, or what day for that matter, but that little importance. What does matter? Am I a crazy person, or did that? Yeah, it definitely connects. I thought right there. Maybe the inside of the hand? Yeah, it's the arm, because I am a silly goose. The other day about why I make content instead of basically anything else. And it's a hard question to answer, like, truthfully, mainly because a lot of people, speaking in general terms, I suppose, obviously individuals, shout out to those individuals. There's life hasn't been super kind to my body physically, and it's progressed to a point where I definitely can't work a normal job anymore. And so, it's been really difficult adjustment for me. So, I've kind of gone all in on, I started my company to create software and games, and, I stream, which I love doing, but why stream in the first place, right? The original question. And it's because I kind of just want a piece of me out there, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not gonna be lucid forever, and I think as parts of me degrade further, it'll be kind of nice to like look back at good times, happy times even, where he's just doing another rant, or he's playing that one game he ended up liking a lot, or this game surprised him, or did you know he did this? Not just for me in my old age, but I mean, hopefully for my children, grandchildren, family members that want to remember just better parts of me, maybe, or it's just seemed like a good idea. So is it about the money? Not at all, man. If I ever do end up making money from this, it'll be because God ordained it so. And to be honest, I'll have to have a long conversation with him about that. Like, what do you want me to do with all this money? All this being $3.40, or whatever it ends up being. All of this I just meant in sum total, not to be like, I'm making millions. I don't ever expect to be honest. And then, you're faithful to him, he's faithful to you. Not that there's some kind of meta science to it or anything where it's like, oh yes, of course, if you perform these rituals in the church at these times, you'll obviously get a blessing account of this much per month for life. I wish it worked that way, because then, it would be kind of gamified a little bit, so you could break down the quote-unquote system a little bit, but no, God's about big picture stuff that I can't even begin to comprehend most of the time. Even making that statement outright is really just my best guess, Oh man, these are all... I'm hoping these are all the same color, man. Because I'm starting to realize now that maybe they just look to me like they're the same color. I don't know. Helmet. Wait, helmet? Face mask. Oh, this isn't his chest. Wait, is it a wizard hat? I wish it was a wizard hat. That would have been great. Oh, I forgot. This is the giant guy. Oh. Sorry, folks. Bumped the mic there. They are. Thank you, Jack. Okay. that makes me feel a lot better. Oh wait. There we go. Well, there's gotta be a piece that sort of looks like this here, right? If I was a hand, would I be up here? Are these hands? They are hands. You look like it. Nope. Brother. Where'd I get this from? Over here. There we go. Probably goes on that. Right there. Got to ride around in the car when I was picking up medicine today. And recently, well, I guess not that recently, but somewhat recently, I joined the worship team at my church. And there's a lot of great songs I like singing. I won't lie, a lot of them are like super new to me. Because, you know, music is constantly evolving with new generations, etc., etc. But I'm a big fan of, like, early classics, especially for, like, church songs and that. Because I guess it's just bias, right? Because that's just the era I was born into. I'm beginning to realize I have, like, no torso for this man. And I'm just not seeing the vision, so it probably builds off this in some regard, right? Come on, help me out. Where are they? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. This look like a torso. Cane Corso torso. Oh. Oh. Aha. Aha. Boy. It's all coming together. Yeah, that's right. Oh, this is a beefy boy. Get him in there. Get him in there. Oh. Oh, it's all slapping together. Oh, wait. Yes. 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 Oh, he is massive. Oh, it looks like an upside down U. I still can't believe this isn't that. There we go. And get it on there. This guy looks like Megatron. Guy's crazy. thought for sure that was top half. Oh, okay, it is. Just on the wrong side. Silly goose behavior. I don't know. I think these would have looked better. What do I know? Not the mecha mastermind here. Oh, that's crazy. This guy's got cabs for days. Wait. Oh, yeah. That's something there. Move you over here. The arms section. Yep. 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 Oh, yep. Yep, yep, yep. Beefy arms. Beefy plated arms. What? Where'd it go? How'd I do that? Nice. Oh, that's a good one. There we go, there we go. And then you probably go here? No? Probably down here, right? I don't see where it would go, though. Alright. Oh, it was correct. Yes. And then... No, not that. Don't like that. Oh. There we go. This guy surely isn't supposed to just be all gray. It's just like a good... like... structure. Like to paint on, surely. Huh? What? Where do you... How did this happen? Ah, there it is, there it is. I don't think that's right yet. Maybe like this? Yeah, there we go. Mind you, if I just used the book, this would go by so much faster. Yep, yep, yep. But then it feels more like a puzzle game when I do it this way, you know? Like puzzling. Surely we got some color options here. Oh, that's pretty good detail for sticker use there. Top of the little emblem and then the little jewel. Whoa. Oh, that's good. I like that. I'm gonna do that one. Boy, it's like this whole thing, huh? And that. That. Kneecaps. Booties. Gotta get his booties. It's like the inside of the hand? Oh, okay, I didn't realize. SK, what's going on? You might be able to tell from the other posts here that I failed at getting Minecraft to work today. And that was hyper upsetting. So that's something I'm gonna have to figure out. Because I am a foolish man. Oh. Oh. That must look like that. I guess so. Boy, this guy looks so cool. Ah, look at him go. So, basically, when I had... Well, one, this is my first mistake, right? Is I thought just download it off Steam. Because, you know, every game worth playing is on Steam. Not the case. Turns out you have to use their launcher or whatever to play the game. And, you know, there's never once been a complication with anything like that. And so, long of the short is that when I finally got it, like, running just outright, my mouse, like, wouldn't work. So, like, I could go forward and backwards, but I couldn't actually, like, engage with the game. And so... Is it just me, or does this guy look like Thanos? It's like Mech Thanos. Mech Thanos. Jarvis, take a picture of this guy. Fantastic. So yeah, that's what happened. Literally... Oh, Evangelion types? That's cool. Literally just couldn't get the mouse to work, amongst a few other complications, like just being... Like, it's really my fault for, like, never engaging with Minecraft before, you know? And I was talking earlier about how, like I just... Not that I feel dumb, like, it's okay to be new to something or ignorant about stuff, like... No big deal, but it's like, I feel like looking at it now, I wasted a ton of time in my day, like doing creative writing or like spending like an extra hour on pixel art stuff that, like, you know, I didn't set up for stream. I didn't give myself enough time for stream. Like, oh, I watched a YouTube video when I could have been figuring this out, like taking it more seriously. And so it's like just one of those hard lesson moments where it's like, well, you're responsible for your actions, so you gotta, you know, it's not all fun and games when you're trying to play video games for the entertainment of both yourself and others. Hard commitment there. And so, you know, while I feel a little silly about it or anything like that, it's, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I'll know better for next time, and hopefully get it working, because my whole big thing was that I wanted to try and build like a spiral library and then talk about how, like, the library organization game I was playing last stream, how, like, literally right after I ended stream, I found this key that opened a chest, which let me jump, which let me find another key, which let me... So basically, long of the short is that there was this whole, like, RPG side of that game that I just did not engage with. Instead, I picked up 3,000 books by hand. Oh, and by the way, you learn magic to, like, help you organize efficiently and fast, and, like, yeah. So, yeah, felt like a big... What? Felt like a big nerd. Well, that clearly goes together. I just don't know. Well, that's not realistic. That can't work that way. Yes, it can, and I'm foolish. I'm foolish for even suggesting it would be otherwise. Aha. Aha. Oh, come on. It looks like it would go right there, right? Whoa. Feels like an arm, perhaps. Oh. Maybe. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Alright. Enough cheating. These guys gotta have, like, crazy long arms, huh? There's no way the hands are one piece. It's never been done before. I think recognizing that is good. It sounds like you need a good routine you can stick to. That way you don't feel guilty when you do things that you want. See, that's the thing, is that usually, I mean, I'm the type of person where I plan my day down to like, yeah, on a good day to the minute, on a bad day to the hour. You know, like I structure things well. The problem is the unforeseen things, right? Like, guy gonna have little T-Rex arms. The problem is I let complacency, maybe. I don't want to oversell what the problem was, right? But like the idea that I thought it should be a certain way does not proof case that it will be that way, right? And so that's why it's one of those things where if I just had a bit more foresight, I guess is really it. It's like, oh, you thought it should be this way. Well, why wouldn't you go all the way to make sure that that was the case if you planned on doing it that night, right? And so, since I didn't do that, it's just one of those, kick in the shins moments, stub your toe moments. Whoop. I am trying to incorporate, speaking of routines, I'm trying to incorporate more exercises and things like that into my routine. The problem is that it's getting increasingly harder to stand or move my legs for more than an hour, give or take. Some days are better than others. Without it being pretty incredible pain. What? Ah. Scared me. So I'm trying to figure out, like, maybe there's like stretches I can do to like try and push that off, and then maybe try different forms of calisthenics to prolong the muscle elasticity, things like that. Oh, that's a good one. And also, I don't like people who like literally talk like they can't move 5 feet without talking to God about it. But like, I really just need confirmation from God in a couple areas in my life to move forward with certain avenues that have made themselves known to me, as far as what's it called? As far as compensatory value, I had offers posted to me to buy my company, which I don't think I'm going to do that for sure. Just because, one, I like the idea of being self-employed, one, and two, I also like the idea that even though I can't see it right just now, like, I think, you know, God's got a plan for me, all that going forward, and so it should be good. We'll see what happens. If you're ever finding yourself in a place where you just don't have enough to pray about, and you think about me, it would be super. What? This thing's practically put together already. It would be super appreciated to keep me in your prayers. To just make sure I'm doing everything he wants me to do, Because, there's not exactly one-size-fits-all instructions for this sort of thing. As far as doing what the Lord wants you to do. There's definitely ways to check if it's what he wants you to not do. Like, I felt like God, like, the classic news story is like, oh, God told me to rob that man. It's like, yeah, that doesn't really sound like something benevolent deity would do. So I think you maybe got caught up in the sauce there, buddy. But as far as doing what's right, doing what honors him, doing all that, I need help with that because it's not that I'm doing anything wrong, but I also don't want to miss the plans he has for me. I want to be obedient to what he wants to do, what he wants to use me to do, what he's got planned for the future. And then there's part of it where I'm a little worried about my financial future. A little bit. And that's just that's just me being wholehearted, honest. Right? Where I feel like he's told me he will provide for me, and I honestly, that should just be the end of it, right? I shouldn't have to think about it again. But the doubts in me, the part of me that worry, that are a worrier, a worry-warter, perhaps, even. Just get nervous about that stuff where just don't, I don't want to be a silly goose and mess something up, mess something good up that God has for me, because missed it. Don't want to miss it. So yeah, we're playing a mech building game because Minecraft beat me up in real life. Which also changed my cannon size to 3 feet, I believe. Jack, you'd have to back. Did I say 3 or 4 feet? I feel like I always say 4 feet, so I think it was 3 feet. I'm now canon 3 feet in real life. It's unfortunate. Happens to the best of us. Except for when it doesn't happen to the best of us, and it only happens to me. Who is canon 3 feet tall in real life. Oh, I wonder. Ah, no, I don't. Oh, wait, maybe I do. Ah, would it be worth checking? Let me see. Let me see real quick. Yes. Cannon, 3 feet tall in real life. Yep, it's true. It's true. 3 feet tall in real life. How's y'all's days going? I feel like I've been yapping about myself too much. Haven't said anything topical. Oh, that looks like it go right there. Maybe it go right here. This is crazy. Unless. He's got them knees on him. Dude, this is a wild looking model. I'm still half convinced these go here. It can't be the case. There we go. There we go. What? What? No. No. There we go. Oh, maybe it does go down here. To be on top. There's no way. There we go. There it is. Bam. Oh, no stickers on this one. Jarvis, take a photo of this man. I'm thinking by the 12th time I say it, it'll be hilarious. To all the people who have me on in the background, I hope I am still providing some level of entertainment. And to try my best to further and do that, I've decided I'm going to talk about my favorite Gundam ever. The High New Gundam. The OG Gundam in a sense, but it's kind of like its final evolution, its final form. And so this is piloted by pilot Amuro Ray, who is a new type of Colony 13, a neutral state, if you will, in a 360-degree terrained satellite that has basically a country's worth of people in it. A small country, some would say, but the idea is that, like, a couple million people definitely fit in, like, the luxury side of the town, and then you've got around, like, 30 to 40 million in the rest of it. They all do jobs. It has its own gravity caused by the spinning of said satellite, so like it emulates Earth's gravity. And what's interesting about that is that they actually talk about this in the show, how the emulated gravity feels different than Earth's real gravity, because often in the show they will go from either another planet to Earth, or from a satellite planet to Earth, or even just a straight up satellite colony, as they're called, to Earth. And they always seem to make it a point. And I think that's really interesting, because, like, I'm sure, you know, everyone knows that if you go to the moon, or even just working on satellites in real life, the people who work at NASA and the astronauts who partake in said adventures in that regard, like, they talk about how, like, yeah, it takes them a second to get used to the gravity again, right? And it takes them some time to readjust, to stop, like, letting cups float in the air and stuff like that, because they don't do that anymore. Excuse me. And so the idea that they make it a point in the first place, I think, is just really cool. Because, you know, I guess because it harkens to real life, so like it gives it somewhat of a realistic aspect, but also like parts of it are what's cool to me anyway, is that, oh boy, it's the legs. It's always been the legs. What'd you just grab? Put it on the other one. Nice little mecha butt cheeks right there, I guess. I thought for sure that would go there. It's the arms. Anyway, so Amuro Ray is thrown into a situation where he discovers, we'll say, the original Gundam RX 782. It's the model design number, and it's basically, he is a pacifist at first, right? It's not directly stated that he is, but people argue this back and forth that he never wanted to hurt anybody. He was a kid when he first got into the Gundam, and so like it was kind of like the Evangelion take where you know, is it right to have children's soldiers, and other Gundam series explore that really well too. But that's not what it was about. Turns out, the creator came out and gave a little more detail on that and said he was a nationalistic countryman. He was trying to protect his family, his friends, and his own life, and how, you know, that doesn't require pacifism. And like, so there's just something about that I think is really cool too, where you know, I said this recently. I can't remember what the context of the conversation was at this very moment in time, mainly because I'm sending myself into overload now. Talking about Gundam, building Gundam, I'm overloading the brain with happy dopamine and that right now. But essentially, the idea of better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And like, there's so much truth to that, because like even Jesus told the disciples, like, you know, to carry a sword, to like, you don't just be a pushover in life. Now, you should definitely turn the other cheek in moments where violence is not an immediate threat or issue. You know, there are times to be reasonable and use your voice for discourse. And so the idea that was also embodied... What? Why would... I guess that's how it started, hey? To be put in a show where, you know, it's okay to fight for what you believe in a way that... Oh, and this is really cool, too. This is actually a hot take in the Gundam community. It means nothing to anyone else, but... Basically, Char Aznavour was right, which that's not actually a hot take. There are a lot of people who agree with him as far as what to do about the world. Because in the world of Gundam, God doesn't exist. There are no churches. Like, religion just never came to be. So I guess that technically doesn't mean God doesn't exist, but it, you know, without getting into it, basically the world operates on a premise that a greater life form does not interpret what morality is, right? And so with that premise in mind, like you literally have to default to utilitarianism, which the interesting thing about that is that, well, you have to do the most good or the most benefit for the most people at one time. And so what ends up happening in the story is Shar, the antagonist of the entire show series, for the original anyway, they stick to that. They do what is best for the most people all the time that he can at once. Now, he does do some selfish things, especially when he gets romantically involved with one of the other soldiers at one point, and politicians at another point, and lots of deviousness to his character, even selfishness to his character, even. But ultimately, the majority of people, especially in the colonies, loved him because they were being treated as second-class citizens, and all of their resources were being allocated to Earth because you had to be rich to live on Earth still. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of backwards thinking to that, but this was made in the 80s, so I'm assuming that they're just like, you know, from the land of prosper times and stuff like that, where it just kind of makes sense, where it's like, of course, it'll be so backwards because it'll be cheap to live up there, but it'll be expensive to live down here, you know. And so there's just some part of that that's like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, just I'll grant the believability of that just for the idea that utopian premises were sought after genuinely for a time, right? And so what he ends up doing is dropping a colony onto Earth, creating a nuclear winter, killing tens of millions of people, on Earth with his dropping of the colony, right? And yeah, Earth is never the same ever again. And obviously, the Earth Force Federation, or the EFF, wants his head for this, right? He is now considered a terrorist, and he needs to be dealt with. And obviously, you know, if you're on Team Earth, I mean, you have to agree, because it's like, this guy's doing some crazy stuff. He's hurting a lot of people. And obviously, I don't agree with that, but I don't agree with that because my morality is based in Imago Dei, right? Where you're made in the image of God. And so if there's a world where that's not true anymore, well, I mean, to be honest, he took care of all the rich people who were hurting a lot more people than the tens of millions that he did. And so, you know, that's why it's considered a hot take, I guess, is that, you know, it should always just be bad to take life. And obviously, I agree, you should not take life ever. But again, that's based on the premise that God actually exists. Because if you try to convince me anyway that God doesn't exist, well, then you're operating on a premise that the value of life is subjective, and that's, I mean, you're never going to get to morality from that. I'm sorry. You can try, but it's never, what's it called? The juice isn't worth the squeeze in that specific instance. This guy looks like Sazabi. Let me tell you about Sazabi, my favorite mech suit in all of Gundam. I tried to trick it. It doesn't want to be tricked. It did want to be tricked. Sazabi is Shar Aznavold's final form mech suit, as it were, for his fight against Amuro Ray in the movie Shar's Counterattack. Mobile suit Gundam, Char's counterattack. Basically, he's going to rid the planet, causing nuclear winter for sure. And I guess I've kind of spoiled this, but basically, long and the short is it is a high functioning mobile suit, very different from a Gundam, because Gundam are built with basically a experimental type of technology in whatever timeline they're in. There's some idea that it taps into innate human ability, kind of like X-Men, how, like, you know, you have Jean Grey, you know, psychic, or Charles Xavier, also a telepath, right? I think that's right. It's entirely possible that he is something other than telepathic, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. I think he is he's telepathic. The boots on this man were made for walking. And so Char's mobile suit is known as the Sazabi, which uses funnels, which are basically drones that you can control with your mind, to shoot energy weapons, similar to blasters in like Star Wars, or oh, what else are they like? Really just blasters in Star Wars, huh? They can do multiple things, but typically they shoot lasers. Lasers! Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm a crazy person. Wait a minute. There we go. Alright, had to check after that last little mix-up there. And it goes toe to toe, blow for blow with the new Gundam, or High New Gundam technically. But the High Gundam, New Gundam, is also using funnels. It is using said funnels, though, to, one, give itself a Sephiroth wing when they're not in use, which looks super cool, or two, dude, where are this guy's shoulders? There we go. I can't even tell what's snapped in. Shoulder. Okay. Huh? You wanna go over? Huh? Maybe? Maybe get a little leg. Oh, maybe a little bit of shoulder, a little bit of face. Oh, other shoulder. Didn't see that coming. Oh, you are joking me. That's definitely this thing, right? Top of this thing? Oh yeah. I just keep putting it on the wrong side like an absolute deviant. There we go. He's got some muscular legs now. Doesn't have much of a waist unit. I wonder what that's about. I don't know. Evangelions are weird, right? Because like the most popular one is super skinny. Oh, that I thought for sure. wants to be on top. Brother. Ah, don't make me do the manual. Oh. Did go there. How about that? Oh. Stickers. Go. The thing I love about Gundam is that it's always about freedom in some sense. There's some bad thing happening, some oppressed class of people or person who had some Batman-esque tragedy happen to them, and it suddenly becomes about a little bit taking your future into your own hands. That's a little bit of it. But honestly, the part that's cool to me is the idea that your future is what you make it, in a sense. Where like, yeah, you can whine and cry about like where you're at in a certain position in life, or that you're worried that a bad thing could happen to you, you know. And like, you're right, bad things can always happen, and it's terrible when they do. I'm not trying to say in one way or another that like you should get over it. You know, bad things happen, and you need to rely on your support systems when those bad things happen. Because ultimately that's, well, at least if you're Christian, that's what you're called to do. You know, and I believe that, and I think it's the best thing. But it's more about how do I say this? It's more about not being defeated by circumstance. Like, that's the part that's so cool to me. It's the friends you find along the way, the trust in another person, the trust in the machines you built, the tools you build, to give yourself a fighting chance at what you want in life or are aiming for, the ability to break free from perpetual cycles of, I guess it would be fair to just say, bad things. Really inspiring to me. I love it a lot. Very near and dear to my heart. Ah, it's supposed to be green and I'm a foolish man. There we go. Whew, that was a close one. Almost ruined everything. Orange at the top, right? This guy looks so cool. I'm glad I painted it this color. This was a good choice. No! What color is that? Right? There we go. He's so shiny. Google, save that file. Alright. Do one more. I'm gonna do one more and then we're gonna call it good for the night. Mainly because my pride is still wounded. I'm sorry to let you guys know. And I also feel like I've been kind of waffling and not being super entertaining. So I probably need to get out of my own head for a little bit. You know. I feel like I could have organized this way better. I just want to put you over there for a minute. Same to you, Mr. I. I am a CH. Let's put you over here. Get you comfy right there. We'll metagame you to right there. Put you right there. There we go. There we go. It's all coming together. Oh, forgot one. There we are. I don't know why these are all like grayed out. Normally they're all like colored already, kinda, which is interesting to see that shift now. I'm kind of enjoying it because it feels like super cool when you like color it. I am a CHRISTIA and N. True. I am a CHRISTIAN, and I don't know the rest of that song, and I'm definitely not that good at spelling. But I know he loves me, and I think it ends with like LLY or something like that. Let me know in the comments below if you know that entire song and would like to correct my lyrics in the comments. And then make a separate comment commenting that you would like to give me the lyrics. Then forward that comment to an email on an alternate account of your own. Send me anonymous fan mail saying things like, I know where you live. And, is that you outside the window? What am I talking about? Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. I get in my own head, man. No good. What's something else that I'm passionate to speak about? I should really start writing this down before stream too. There's more stuff. You know, the learning curve is steep. More stuff I just need to plan for, I think. Ayyo. Boy, we snipping them all. We snipping them good. Yeah. Man. Oh, I know. Inverse theory, right? So this came up on... Oh, I don't know when it did. I want to say yesterday. But basically, the Orthodox Church announced that... Well, I don't want to misspeak. I don't want to misquote them. But essentially, the argument is that the Trinity is not exactly clear in the Christian community, or at least on their interpretation of it. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, you know, it's kind of a big statement to say you don't believe in the Trinity. Well, again, I don't think they were saying that necessarily, but the argument back and forth was that that is definitely what they were saying. And so I'm a little flabbergasted by this, because the idea is, especially, well, if you are Christian, the idea is that Jesus claimed to be God in human form. Thus, that's why his sacrifice, meant anything, right? Otherwise, it would just be another martyr, I suppose, maybe. which, it can be a bit uncomfortable to talk about that alone, but I'm very much of the idea that I think it was C.S. Lewis who said it. I can't totally recall at the moment, but I'm pretty sure that's right. Who said when he thinks about the Trinity, he thinks about it in a way that's like a dot on the graph and trying to get the length, width, and height of the dot, with it all being the number 1. And even admits that it's not like a perfect way to think about it, but the idea is that it's all one thing, but not all equally that same thing of that thing at one time of that thing. Which is really a complicated way to just say that it's one being that is one being that isn't multiple personalities, has the ability to be multiple entities, but are of the same personal being at one time. This idea is permissible to me, mostly because, and I'm gonna say mostly with a bit of grace here, mostly because if you are talking about things like perfection or infinity, these are things that cannot actually be conceptualized. And so, like, there's a bit of what to call it? There's a bit of you can't totally know it, but since your limited interaction of knowing it presents as a certain subset of details, it is fair to assume those details point in a consistent direction. What do I mean by this? God is logical. We know this because there are logical factors that take place on the planet that will not contradict themselves. Per example, gravity does not get faster, right? It is a universal constant. You can't have something like a square or circle. It does not exist because it's contradictory to the logical premise of said thing. Get more leg on there. What's going on? Get it. And then get that. We're going to build it from the legs up. Wait. Oh, I thought for sure that was one of them. It's funny to just see it like stop cold turkey. Oh, what it? Bad time to lose track of what I was talking about. What is going on with this guy's arms? With Buster Brown's arms over here. Oh, right. Since God can't be contradictory or illogical, right? You're able to draw certain inferences about like his character, right? But that doesn't mean you understand him completely. The same idea with something like perfection, right? Is that you can understand the concept of perfection, but you can't understand what perfection would actually look like in your face, right? especially because, again, it's one of those preconceived, not notions, but it's basically like it's built on the idea that you can imagine what it is like, but you can't actually comprehend what that would mean. I'm pretty bad at explaining this, I'm realizing in real time right now. But what it means for the good, right? The Trinity, I believe, not only is super important for the idea of Jesus being God, thus the sacrifice meaning something, versus the sacrifice of a saint, which, it doesn't mean nothing, but it's, it's not the same as the Almighty God absorbing the debt of your sin out of love for not just humanity's sake, but quite literally on a personal level, your sake, right? Not the same thing there. So I can hear you asking, boy, I mean, you've said a lot of words, but what is it? What does it entail? What does it mean? What are we adding to this conversation right now that gets you so amped? Jake makes. And to be honest, it's the idea. Oh, right, inversion. That was the entire point of the entire thing. Thank you, random voice inside my head. So the idea is, the Orthodox Church said basically the Einstein theory, where just because you can't prove something means that it's just as easily disproven. So something without evidence can be dismissed, and then they pull up the arguments of several churches throughout history to say, they've argued about the Trinity for 300 years. When Christianity first started, it was one of the biggest talks of the town, where they really needed to sort it out, and I mean rightfully so. To be completely honest, right? Is you don't want to build your ideology, your belief in something in a haphazard way, right? Because you're building your foundation on this, and the Bible tells us, if your rock is built on sinking sand, your house will not last too long. And I mean, there's obviously a ton of conventional wisdom in that. We don't have to get into all that at this moment, though. Trying to stay on topic as best I can. So the idea is, this is called an inverse argument, where basically their argument for why the Trinity is not the case, or it's not explicitly stated in the Bible, therefore it can be dismissed, is basically the lack of evidence. The Bible does not say anywhere in it, yes, this is the Trinity, and this is what it means, and you have to look at it this way. It doesn't happen. I wish it did. I really do. Because I don't understand the Trinity as far as I can understand perfection, right? I mean, again, I can generally conceptualize a lot of it, but the idea that there are three separate entities who are not separate, but separate except for they're not, obviously, and the cop-out, and I do think this is a cop-out. This is probably something that me and my father disagree on a lot. I think it's a cop-out to say that, you just can't comprehend the Trinity. Well, I don't think that's true. I just think it was never spoken about. Jesus never answered the question, because, I mean, they couldn't handle the information at the time. What were they supposed to do? You don't know what you don't know, and so how do you know to ask a good question based on what you don't know? It's like, oh, hey, Mr. Blind Person, can you explain to me what the color blue is? And they're like, no. Like, oh, well, can you tell me based on how people act about the color or describe the color to you, what it makes you see in your head, or what are descriptors that you think about when you hear about these colors? I mean, they would have an easier idea because they've been guided to how to answer that question, right? But before that, like, I mean, there's really not an answer, right? And so what makes this inversion, right, is that it's taken the obtuse, the opposite, and it has positioned itself as the... And it's really smart, too. That's what's kind of frustrating about it to me. It positions it in the idea that if enough evidence is given, they will change their mind. Right? And so, obviously, the problem with that is that I feel like that's a bit of a farce. Because here's my problem, and I think they know this. I don't want to assume, right? I never want to assume the worst of someone. But truly, I think it's a little devious, at least in the idea of it, that it's like, oh, if evidence comes out to support this claim or that claim, whatever, then we'll totally be open to the interpretation of the Trinity. Except, who would be the authority to add evidence to the Bible for such a claim, right? And if you're a devout Christian, you know the answer already, right? Is that there isn't. You're not allowed to do that. You can't just, oh, this is what God meant. Like, it's, you're not allowed to do that. I mean, obviously this isn't the same as interpreting, right? Where it's like when Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Yeah, you're allowed a little bit of interpretation, metaphysical discernment, and that, like, there's parts of that are fine. But it's like when you're talking about the Trinity, well, you're putting yourself in a position to basically claim you don't have to believe it if you don't want to. But I think that's... And so, like, I think their position on it especially is that, it won't affect anything, basically. It doesn't affect their beliefs. They can still keep going to church the same way they have been. And it really doesn't change anything because Jesus still died for our sins, and we're happy and grateful, and we're going to keep being baptized in the Orthodox tradition and pushing the ethics that have built the Western world. And there are parts of that are good, parts of that are true, and parts of that are great. But I think what it does, ultimately, and of course I have no proof of this, it's just like my fear of the argument being presented the way that it is that it puts them on the back foot for the argument of, well then, how do you know that Jesus' sacrifice was worth anything? Because if your entire belief system hinges on the idea that God became flesh and absorbed your punishment, absorbed the penalty for your crimes, the second you make it to where his sacrifice doesn't mean anything anymore, or at least even possible, the second you open up that possibility, I think you've done a massive disservice to what you believe. And it's one of those things where maybe they walk it back in a year or maybe even sooner, but the idea that they believe it changes nothing. I mean, on some level, I am sure they're technically correct. It doesn't matter if they're the same being or not. In a literal sense or in a metaphysical sense, the idea that he could literally be his son, a separate entity, doesn't matter as much as the fact that he was claiming to be God in human form, called him Father, making him the Son. Like, that's all fine. It doesn't have to be a large point of contention. But I really, man, I'm telling you, I get a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach when I hear things like that, because the idea that, I don't know. Like, and so, what do you have to say about the Trinity in general, right? Like, where in the Bible do you get that the Trinity is even a thing, right? And I can't remember the verse off the top of my head, I'll be completely honest with you. I don't have the Bible memorized like that. I hope to one day, for open clarity and honesty there. But yeah, at the moment, I definitely don't have it memorized like that. So the issue becomes, before I get to the issue, let me finish the argument. The idea here is that the Godhead claims to be the same person. Oh, man. Has it really been that long? Man, I really had this thought out a second ago. And now I'm shrinking away a bit here. What was I even saying? Where does the Trinity come from? Oh. It comes from the idea that Jesus can claim to be God in human form, and that the sacrifice is God absorbing the punishment that was meant for us through the sacrifice of his son Jesus. Later then brings in the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit acts as God with us, which is cool because it comes from the name Emmanuel, which was the Hebrew name, or the Greek name for the Hebrew name Jesus, or Yeshua, which means God with us. Later turned into a Latin interpretation. Sorry, I'm reading all of this if you couldn't tell. Which later... Oh, where was I? I lost my place. Which later became... Okay, why it mattered. Yeah, okay, yeah. Sure enough. So, the problem with inversion theory, right, is that to disprove this, you have to prove something that you can't comprehend. Who can comprehend the ways of the Lord? Obviously, no one can, because again, it goes into like understanding perfection. Like, it's just impossible. I wish it was possible. I wish, I wish I could understand what God does most of the time, right? And to stop waffling for a little bit, like, really, the idea that you have to disprove something with something that's incomprehensible to begin with it's bad precedent, right? Because here's the thing. And this is, I could be contested on this, but I've really thought about this for a long time, and so I'd be interested to hear what you think about it, actually. But the idea that God doesn't have to explain anything to you, because, and I think about it like this, right? Where God made the game, God made the rules, so therefore anything he does, regardless of my opinion, is correct, right? Like there's really, I mean, period, right? Like that's it. Now, you could really disagree with that and think that God is evil, right? But the problem is that your thoughts are based on what then? Because again, if you're going against these logical machinations, well then, I mean, you're basing it on nonsense, right? You like literally by definition, you are going against the fabric of the universe at that point. And so to do that is literally, definitionally nonsensical. You are going against sense. You are going against the fabric of reality. And so why does that matter for the context of this conversation? God wants a relationship with you. He reveals himself to you in a way that you understand and is personalized, super personalized to you. He knows the hairs on your head. This is an interesting verse because literally the way the numbers are used, especially in the old Aramaic or the Hebrew language, it's almost like a name. And so like he knows you down to the granular cell is really the point of what the verse is trying to convince, right? And so there are things that he chooses to explain to you. Like this is why Jesus said, if you remember anything, remember these two things. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. This is where we get the golden rule from, right? Like, treat others the way you want to be treated, or do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The idea here is that if everyone took care of everyone and nobody worried about themselves, you could technically have a utopia. In fact, a lot of socialist policy is built on this idea, and this is how you know conceptually this makes sense. Socialism says, if everyone takes care of everyone, then we can live in a utopia. The problem is that people are people. And so people like power, people like to take charge. God isn't like that. He doesn't like to take charge. He just is in charge. Like he spoke the universe into existence. This isn't a competition. This isn't I have an opinion about that kind of conversation. Like it just is. Again, this is why if you're not religious or you don't believe in God, you can easily supplement this with the fabric of reality just is, right? Like you exist in this time, in this space, in the presence of these things that surround you, right? In this point in time and space. And so the idea that you could argue against that reality is literally nonsensical. And so to say, well, okay, how do you know you exist? Well, you can't prove that I exist. Well, that's not exactly true, right? Because we have 5 senses that if we all take a turn like tasting salt, we can get a roundabout consensus agreement on what that tastes like. Okay, but how do you know you all see the same color the same way? It doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, you point up at the sky and say it's blue, but it looks green or gray or orange or purple to me. It doesn't matter because what I see and what you see is now called blue. This is the fabric of reality, right? And so what's cool about that is that, one, it's participatory, meaning there's an active participation in a relationship that's ongoing. And then 2, the idea is that it is communal, right? Like this is something you have to share with someone else. So because if you had everything, right, most people, when asked, you basically have unlimited X thing. What do you do with it? Most people say they meet their needs, then their family needs, and then everyone else's needs after that. This is typically the three-part circle that happens, right? But and this is a really interesting case. Religious people tend to meet their own needs last. So like they'll take care of family, and then they'll take care of community, and if there's something left over, or even if if it's truly unlimited, right? Even then, they'll still take care of themselves last. Or in some cases, and this one really interests me. It interests me a lot, actually. In some cases, they will not take care of themselves at all. Why? Because they believe that God will provide for them so granularly. It is so baked into their DNA that they literally... Jake makes Christians. You know what? That's pretty good. I might need to make a separate channel. Jake makes Christians. You're absolutely right. I guess that's what I'm doing today, huh? If it's truly unlimited, it's so granular that God will provide for them, that it's almost second nature to do exactly what Jesus said, right? Is that you take care of everyone else. Because and like that's the interesting thing about what Jesus said too, right? Is that you love your neighbor and love your God. Love God with everything you are. Soul, mind, strength, everything you got to give it to Him. And also, really, have your best interests in heart for your neighbor. Doesn't mention, and this is such a big thing, especially nowadays too, because how often do you see social media posts or people talking in mainstream media, or even movies and shows and stuff like that now, where self-care is very important. Oh, and I know it's I know it's Pride Month or men's mental health awareness month or whatever. Okay, yes, we do. I think men need to be cared for, especially because they carry the burden of society often on their shoulders, unacquitted to any other responsibility. And I think obviously this can take a toll, and that means something. But the idea that you deserve something because of X reason, it's like a fallacy to me, right? Because the idea that you focus on yourself. I've heard all sorts of people throughout history. Money is the root of all evil, or sexual iniquity is the root of all evil, or whatever it is, right? But honestly, I think at the heart of sin is the idea that you matter. I mean, maybe even at all. I haven't totally thought that out 100%. Because, obviously, there are scriptures your body is a temple and you should care for it because it's honoring to God. It's not a non-starter, right? You need to rely on God especially, but you need to take care of yourself and rely on God to help you take care of yourself. I think there's some part of that has its place in at least the idea of Christianity, right? That has to be the case, because you can't go and make disciples if you can't go. There's an idea. Yeah. Is it selfish to take care of yourself? Obviously not. That can't always be the case. But where's the line? You know what I mean? Where's the line where suddenly you seem to care about yourself an awful lot? I've noticed you've taken a lot of time to care about yourself, but when's the last time you cared for another person? I mean, how often do you have those conversations with yourself? How often do you put your mental on the line for something like that? And I'll have to be honest, right? I've only recently begun that, because Uh, oh, what happened? Somewhat recently, like within the past 3 months, something clicked in my head when I was arguing with Eden. I was like, you think that taking care of yourself it matters, but realistically, if the worst case should ever happen to you, right? Like, worst case being you pass on to the next life, right? Like, I mean, if you're in the Christian religion, you are now in paradise because you have done well, my good and faithful servant, right? The idea that this isn't what makes life worth living. So what bothers me about this idea though is that, like, again, it starts to get a little dark when it's like, well, why not just take the shortcut? Well, because now you're breaking the rules. Like, that this is going against the fabric of reality, that you know, it's not thou shalt not murder, it's thou shalt not harm. They don't, you know, harm being specifically destructive of the temple, right? Like, that's why they use murder in the English translation, because there is an intent, there is a heart behind it that is to harm another person, whether that be yourself or another person. Anyway, I've rambled on way too long. The idea is basically, inverse theory says that, oh, if you can dismiss it without evidence, then you don't have to make an argument, basically. You're open to seeing evidence and changing your mind. The problem with that in the church is that you're not allowed to add to the Bible. You're not allowed to, oh, we've made this discovery. Jesus meant you're actually supposed to give me $1 million. That would be super sinful behavior. And obviously this isn't the exact same thing. I've done a poor job explaining what happened with the Orthodoxy in that, in Eastern or Western Orthodoxy churches. But the idea is that it's not good, in my opinion. That's really the long and the short of it. Anyway, I can leave it there. Hey, I think I've rambled on long enough, and I'm sure plenty of people have other things to do. Plenty of people, you know, but not that I don't have more to say about it. It's just, you know, I can't rant forever about this sort of thing. I'll lose my mind. But if you have a comment on orthodoxy and what it means to possibly betray the beliefs of a trinity, or what that would look like, or maybe you can defend it, make it make sense, maybe. Now, obviously, if you do, you would be disqualifying inverse theory to begin with, so it would be kind of hard for you to actually back that. But maybe you're the one. You know what? I will actually do inverse theory on that and say I am open to seeing evidence how it can be explained that the Trinity is not necessary for Jesus' sacrifice to mean anything. However, I stand fast on Jesus' claim to be not just the Son of God, but that he claimed to be God, that he was of the same essence, thus the reason for our interpretation of the Trinity, and then the Helper or the Holy Spirit after he left, all claiming to be God. It is all unifactorally God. I'm going to hold to that probably till the day I die, but you know, maybe you're the best biblical scholar on the planet, and you have some way to make the opposite make sense, where they're actually three separate entityic people, or beings rather. I guess not people, only one was a person. Anyway, I'm gonna call it there. Thank you so much for joining. This has been Jake Makes Christians, as SK said. This has been Jake Makes Games, and today we were making some Christian talk, building some Gundams. Thank you everybody for being here. Shipmates, crewmates, first mates, and deckhands. I will see you next time.